It's begun.
It's begun. Here with, of course, the incredible Gina Rodriguez, Golden Globe winner Gina Rodriguez. I just kind of want to let everybody know who doesn't know out there. You've made history again this past television season on the awards front, where you are the first either CW, UPN, WB, any of those conglomerate star to get 3 major television nominations at all. And I mean, that's
Wow.
that's a huge feat. I mean, you've gotten so much recognition for the show. Does it still blow your mind every time? I mean, you got your 3rd Golden Globe nomination this year. It must be.
Yeah, it definitely, for sure. It always blows your mind. And it's nerve-wracking because then, you just saying the whole, you broke a record makes me think like, oh, the pressure's on for next year. That's too much. I can't handle that.
Well, the one thing that's kind of not been there is this elusive Emmy nomination that everybody in the world has been pulling for on you. But you know what? You're in great company. I mean, Tatiana Maslany took 3 years to get her first Emmy nomination, 4 years to get her win. Everybody Loves Raymond didn't get nominated in any kind of category until its 3rd season. So we're hoping that train kind of continues. I mean, how amazing would that finally be to kind of, I mean, not just for you, but I mean for your fans that have been polling for you so much to get this nomination.
I think it's definitely that. I think it's for the supporters, and it's also, Jenni. The reason why I got 3 nominations for Golden Globe is because of the writing. I mean, it's all Jenni. The fact that a show can get recognized after that many years is incredible. So I feel like it would be for Jenni because she creates such a magical land for us to play in. And but the whole thing is bizarre. It's bizarre to it would be a blessing for sure, but it's bizarre to even think about it. Honestly, I mean, I don't know, to put it in your sphere of something that you'd want, but you really don't have any control over. You just do the best work you can, put it out there, and it's a blessed thing when it gets recognized. But it's okay. Thank God I get to keep doing it. Is what matters.
That's very true. Spoken like a true Gina. But okay, let's get into why exactly it is you deserve this nomination. Because again, this season you have been outstanding. The season hasn't concluded yet, but you've been outstanding, and you've had so much, it seems, in this just the first half of the season. It seems like you had gone through so much more than you had almost in any other season. I mean, you had Michael who had been shot, and then you had to kind of help him with the recovery, and then Jane lost her virginity, and then you're still juggling raising Mateo while taking care of Michael, who found out he can't go into the force anymore, and so he's going to study, be a lawyer, and there's just so much that you've had to deal with. Your mom, the abortion storyline, and then the big bombshell in episode 10 of this season, where Michael succumbs to complications from his gunshot wound. I mean, has this maybe been kind of the most challenging to juggle so far, or for you?
God, I love you so much, Ralph. You're incredible. It has definitely been the more challenging season, even though, we have so much, we've had so much to play with in season 1, but it has definitely been a more challenging season because shaking off the devastation of losing Brett alone as an actor, as my acting partner, felt so much like a loss, that it felt so much like, life imitating art, art imitating life, that it presented challenges I don't think I was ever prepared for when doing an art project, right? So you do art pieces and you're committed and you're involved, and then you get blessed to have a show like this where I get to play so many different characters, so much magical realism. I get to do comedy, I get to do drama. It really is like an exercise every day, and a discovery of what I can do and the limits that I can push every day. But this season was bled into my real life, and it's been a blessing at the same time, because flash forwarding 3 years and being able to play a more mature adult, cynical, very connected Jane has been very cool, because she's not as hyper unrealistic. She's not as idealistic. She's not as much of a dreamer. And it's, that was what I had, what was the challenge with for the first 3 years was as much as I'm optimistic and positive, I definitely live in reality, and I definitely don't allow that naivete that Jane had, that I got to play those first 3 years. I didn't really have in my own life. I knew that things happen, and life has ups and downs, and Jane was just feeling them. Jane was learning them then during the time, but now I get to really play this mature woman that is a mother of a 4-year-old, and a 4-year-old that's completely out of his mind and like not really that disciplined. And Jane was just so type A and so like on the right track, that her son being so vastly different from her has been a really cool thing to play and to work with, and a challenge. I lost Brett, but then I gained this 4-year-old. So they and I joked with him that they're not very different, but it has been like a very serious journey personally too.
Yeah, well, I mean, with that, I mean, I know how close you and Brett are and were. I mean, does it make those scenes where you have to, as Jane, have to remember Michael? I mean, is it something that just kind of, like you said, life imitates art? Is it easy for you because you just think of Brett and you're like, I wish he was on set, I wish he was here?
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, not that it's easier, but it affects me so much more. So that day I'll have to like shake it off. And when other days Jane is lighter and it's fun and it's fairy tale and it's frothy and it's poppy and it's it's in this telenovela world. But then those days that I have to do things that are grounded in reality, they're a little more difficult to shake off for sure. But they're closer to my heart. But the whole first season working with Brett, I mean, Brett freaking deserves an Emmy. He's so stellar. He's so absolutely stellar. And working with him has been a dream come true, because between action and cut, I'm madly in love with that man. Like I couldn't, he's like my husband. He was like, the whole first part of the season 3, I thought our chemistry and our playfulness and like playing with him, doing art with him was such a gift. It was such a gift. And, Justina Machado, One Day at a Time, another amazing show that everybody should be watching. And she also,
we're talking to her soon.
Yeah, that woman also deserves an Emmy. She's out of control. She's so fantastic. She told me years ago, she said, be present, enjoy the journey of Jane, because then when it's done, it's done. And like, you want to look back and remember that you just enjoyed it and you soaked it up. And like, that's what I do every day on that show. And with Brett, that's what we did. And so losing him was devastating, but I didn't take advantage of a second with him.
Well, and then once you lost him on the show, as you mentioned, Jenni Erman, your insanely brilliant creator, had this idea to jump the show off the 3 years, and you had older Mateo and whatnot. But for you, in terms of Jane herself as an actress, we saw her break down when Michael, when she found out the news of Michael. Then we flash forwarded 3 years, and she was still thinking of Michael. Was it an easy transition for you, or was there? I mean, did you go through this year for a whole year? Jane was probably grieving, and then she's adjusting to be an adult. I mean, how did you work that as an actress to make that kind of a leap and make Jane so different than she was just a scene before?
So I got really lucky because that was one of the things that was so important to me to be able to do, to transform. Luckily, we were able to do it aesthetically, right? So we always had that in the plan, that I would finally cut my hair, because my hair was short underneath the wig, and I would finally cut my hair for that leap, as though after Michael's death, she shed. the way women do often. Our hair is so connected to our memory. And so we were like, that's going to be a really great transition already when we had that in the cards, me and Jenni, from the beginning of season 3. And because I was aware of what the journey was this season, at least. I wasn't aware of all the intricate storylines and stuff, but it was like 1 to 10 is our love story with Brett, and then we have with Michael, and then we'll be jumping 3 years in 11. And I was so excited about that opportunity because seldom do you ever see it in TV shows. It's like, it's a high school TV show and they're in high school forever, right? And like, it's very difficult to make that transition and make the show still alive and real, and you're still connected to the characters. And so I thought of it as a very exciting challenge because I knew that the reason why Jenni had always had it in her mind that the storyline would go this way and Jane would lose the love of her life was to ultimately, Jane's character arc is one that is very relatable and very real in life. You want life to go a certain way. You expect it to go a certain way. It doesn't go that way. How do you adjust to that? And then loss. Like, we all have experienced loss or will experience loss in time in our lives. And to see somebody rise after that loss is a very interesting experience. And I really love Jenni's idea for Jane's arc. And what I was able to do is, because we had a different kind of hiatus this past season, we wrapped November 18th, and then we came back in January, and we had shot 1 through 10 till November. And then I and my boyfriend went to Thailand, and I trained in Muay Thai for a month because I wanted to change my body type. I wanted to get like stronger arms, because you see moms are like always picking up their kids all the time. And over a few years, you're like, damn girl, you're buff because you're picking up this like 50-pounder, And I wanted to go through a catharsis and shed a Brett in my own kind of grieving way. And I was in Thailand for a month, and I wrote and I read and I trained, and I went through a pretty interesting process also of actually giving myself time to stop in my always desire to work and like make my dreams come true and keep on this train and keep focused. This was part of that focus, but it was a different kind of sacrifice that I had to take. And so it did something to me internally. And then I came back January 1st. We started shooting January 5th, and it was meeting her after she had grieved pretty severely. Except I got to episode 11, I got to, in the beginning of it, they were like 3 weeks after Michael's death. So I got to show that awful, those moments where you don't want to leave your house and you don't want to leave your room and you don't know how to survive on your own and you don't know how to stop crying, and everything reminds you of that person. And so that was a really special scene with my grandma, Yvonne Cole, who's also beyond talented, extremely talented, just a master at work. Working with her is such a gift. And then, push into adult Jane, who knows life isn't always peaches and cream, and the things you plan don't always work out, and the son I had didn't turn out to be exactly like me, and it's tough, and liking another man after Michael is tough, and falling in love and working with another man is tough. And that's what I think has been such a beautiful back and forth from real life to acting. And we've really put our heart into this one because it was such a huge season for all of us as people, but then as artists, to grow in a way that I hope worked. Because I feel like I personally grew. So I guess that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you touched on it a bit. The journey that Jane goes through is so complex and so. I mean, it's a telenovela. That's what's so weird, is that Jenni has this unique gift of being able to tell the story where it's a telenovela and there's all these outlandish things, but still at the heart of it, there's this person that you relate to so much in any kind of in any situation that she's in. I mean, I know for me, season 1, I was just getting to know Jane, and season 2, it felt like Jane was a friend because we got invited to her wedding and everything else that she was going through. And then by season 3, you feel like Jane is part of your family, or you're part of her family. I mean, you grieve with her when she's feeling. I mean, what I guess how do you see Jane's overall path going, and do you love what is being done with the character?
I feel very, very lucky that I am guided and led by such a phenomenal woman. Has Jenni writes for hearts. She writes with love at the forefront. She writes a show that is wrapped in comedy to make the harsh realities of life so much softer to endure and easier to digest. And her ability to comment on social injustice, on social commentary in general without judgment has been, it just is a testament to how wonderful that woman is. She's got a heart that, I mean, is really hard to describe because it's a unicorn. It's surreal. It's otherworldly. But the talk on immigration, the talk on pro-life, pro-choice, and understanding both exist, and everyone's allowed to feel how they want to feel, like what works best for them. And and I love that. It's like there is no evil villain. There's no evil side. It's perspectives. It's who the person is, and our political commentary, our political climate right now, her ability to ease comedy in this world that needs light right now and needs love. We have a really cool immigration story coming up where Mateo asks me, why is it that people don't want grandma in this country? And when you hear it from a child's perspective, it's devastating because children are being hurt by the things that are happening in our political climate right now. And children are the ones we're supposed to protect and the ones we're supposed to guide, and say, this is what life's about and this is what you should prepare for. And here, I want to protect you in this world and whatnot. So it's a really beautiful storyline that's coming up. But I have so much trust in Jenni. I'm so excited to go into season 4. So excited for Jane to learn how to love again. And so many people out there need stories like this, and grandma's storyline where she's falling in love. And do you ever see a Latina grandmother in a love story, on TV? Never. And, Jenni makes it so that you're ready to go on any journey with her. And the way I see Jane growing in the next, few seasons, God willing, we get that, opportunity, is one I'm sure not far from Jenni, because it reflects life. And that's what it's about. It's about telling this really awesome life story in this crazy telenovela world so everybody laughs and smiles through the pain.
Yeah, and speaking of laughing, I mean, you've had some pretty great comedic moments this season, especially with 4-year-old Mateo. I mean, there's just so much there. It seems like you guys have this you guys had this instant chemistry because you guys just play off each other so well, and he plays off of you so well. It must be, like you said, it must be having Brett there,
yeah,
all together.
Yeah, it totally is. And it's a challenge, and it's a different kind of challenge than I've ever experienced, because little Aiden, who played Mateo till 1.5 years old, he was a baby and he just loved on me and held me and cuddled with me. And the beautiful transition of this 3-year gap is Mateo turning into this ruckus of a child. And this little boy is so talented and so perfectly cast. Joseph is a real actor. He responds to me in the moment and improvs with me, and it's so I'm always on my toes. I guess I don't know what it's like to be a mother. I give so much credit to moms because I get to give Joseph back to his amazing mother, Lori, at the end of the day, because he is a handful, and rightfully so, because he's a genius. But moms really got it. Moms are superheroes, and I get to play a little bit of one on TV, and it's cool,
Well, for that, I mean, for that reason, all the others we discussed, in a perfect world, you're an Emmy nominee, and you have been an Emmy winner. But if, hopefully the perfect world happens coming up, you have to submit one episode for Emmy voters to kind of showcase as your best. Do you have one in mind, either that has happened, or I know the finale's still up and I hear that one's a doozy?
Yeah, the finale I think is going to be really good. I think the season there's been such a fun roller coaster in the season, from like really fun comedic times with Brett, and I know we fall into the comedic category, but we have such great real life drama on our show. So that's why I think it's been really difficult to fit in somewhere. Nonetheless, I think 311, the one coming back from the 2-year gap, shows uh, both strengths of all the characters. All the characters really stand up in that episode, because it's that growth. It's also flashbacks, so we pull from like where we were before. It's funny and it's devastating. So maybe that. I don't know. Jenni's really great at picking, though.
Well, we'll leave it in her hands.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got to go soon, but I want to get just a few quick fan questions in there,
Yeah.
because if not, your Warriors will destroy me. So we start with Ellen wants to know, when are you going to direct an episode of Jane the Virgin? Because it must happen.
Yes, next season, season 4, I'll be directing an episode, and I'm figuring it out with Jenni what best works for me being able to get into pre-production, because I'm in every episode so heavily. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be similar. It's like going to be the one that when we come back from hiatus, so I have hiatus to prepare, possibly.
Allison wants to know if you do you think you're different now than when you started the show?
100%.
As a person.
Oh, 100%. I mean, one thing I could say is that playing a character that is way better than I am as a human being, but playing somebody that I have to live up to, someone that I have to grow as a person just to embody such an honest, patient, kind, loving human being that's like definitely love is at the forefront in her heart, has made me reflect on the different kind of things that I go through in life, where I can't help but stop and say, okay. That there's a way to react that's different, because when I play Jane, I jump right into her. I know exactly how she'll react to every situation, and it's hard to like get out of Jane and into Gina and not take those moments where I'm like, all right, calm down, be patient, relax. Like, everything's gonna be okay.
2 more. Lindsay wants to know, where is your happy place?
My happy place, I think my happy place has always been wherever I walked. My happy place is with me. I make every space I'm in, I try to make it my happy place. But I would say me. I walk around with my happy place.
And then final one, which I think is a really good one. Mo wants to know, when do you sleep? I mean, you've got this book, you've got Annihilation, you've got a television show, you've got Carmen Sandiego now. Are there 2 of you, Gina? I mean, seriously.
Mo, I love you, Mo. You're fantastic. How are you doing, Mamacita? I don't sleep very much, but I'm working on self-care, because it's very important, because I want to do many things, and my dreams continue to get bigger, and my fears continue to get bigger as I make those dreams huge. But I'm working on it. I don't sleep very much, but thank you for reminding me that I should.
Well, I'm hoping we remind Emmy voters that you need to be on their ballot this year. Thank you so much again for joining us at Cold Derby, and congratulations again on your making history again, with the television award side, and just everything else that you've been able to accomplish. It's great to talk to you again.
Thank you, Ralph, and thank you for Gold Derby, always supporting me through all this. You guys are like, you're definitely my champions, because you have been fighting for me for years, and I appreciate that. So, lots of love. Thank you, Ralph, for everything, really.